Hey everyone, I'm Chris, and this is Cue the Credits. Welcome back to Cue the Credits, the home of everything physical media, boutique Blu-rays, and the art of collecting. Today we're diving into something a little bit darker, a little bit more chaotic, and that is a release coming straight from Arrow Video, and that is Spawn. This is a 4K limited edition 2-disc set. Now, Spawn is one of those films that is equal parts wild, equal parts dated, equal parts just a little bit psychotic. It's a fascinating release, let's just say that. This release promises a brand new transfer from the camera negative and a bucket load of special features. So let's crack this open. We're going to have a look at the packaging, check out the film, see how it holds up, and go from there. Spawn was released back in 1997 and is based on Todd McFarlane's comic book character of the same name. Spawn tried to bring a gritty, more darker, supernatural superhero to the big screen. And it was trying to ride the comic book train that started with Batman back in the 80s. Though it's safe to say it didn't really hit the ground running as they expected it to. It is part comic book movie, part gothic fever dream, a whole load of over-the-top energy, questionable CGI, and that absolute like 90s edge where every scene kind of feels like it's been done by a person who's just discovered Adobe After Effects. It is certainly something, and I have been taking in all of the 90s films recently. A brief synopsis. Michael J. White stars as Al Simmons, a soldier who is betrayed and murdered, and then makes a deal with the devil to come back to Earth as Spawn. Hell's reluctant warrior, you could say. While we're just touching on cast, it would be remiss of me not to talk about John Leguizamo as the Violator. Equal parts hilarious, grotesque, disturbing. Like, he is phenomenal in this role for all the wrong reasons. Let's just say Spawn is an absolute ride and it stinks 90s. Without further ado, let's unbox this. Starting off, we have got the front cover here. So these Arrow releases do boast multiple artworks, but they've gone with the mask and the cape on the front with just Spawn. And I think this does look really sharp, better than the other option that you will see a little bit later down the line. So we get that on the front of the slipcover. Now this is just a standard single case Amaray. There's no hard box here, it's just a slipcover. So on the side we've got Spawn there, and then everything that is included within this limited edition. Now this is a double 4K disc release, so it is region free, so you can play this anywhere in the world, and you get a director's cut and the theatrical cut. If we take the slipcover off here, we've got the alternative artwork. So I've already flipped this round. The other artwork is exactly the same as the slipcover, same text and same colouring. So here's the alternative showcased. This looks really, really nice. These are both original artworks. So as you can see on the spine, different text, and then the text that you get on the back is different as well. You get like a red text, whereas on the slip and the other alternative you get like this bluey silver. Really, really nice. Opening it up, as noted, we get a 2-disc 4K release here. Disc 1 is the director's cut that houses all the bonus features, and then disc 2 is the standard theatrical cut. Each one gets each artwork, which is nice. Inside you get a little booklet which is around about 23 pages with some production notes and a little bit of write-up and some various screen grabs of the film, and you also get included a double-sided poster of both bits of artwork. As always, it's a really nice little limited edition release. So that is everything that you get inside this limited edition package from Arrow. Would it have been nice to have one of their hardbox releases for this? Yeah, it would have. Is there a market and that much material for people to be spending that much on Spawn? You tell me in the comments down below. Let's talk picture quality, because was Spawn really needing a 4K release? I am happy to say that the transfer quality is surprisingly lovely, actually. It is a really crispy 4K transfer. Like, it looks really, really good. And you can see that Arrow have spent the time to actually do this transfer justice. As I noted, it is from the original camera negatives, which of course help a massive amount. And because of that, it gives the film a level of clarity that just wasn't there before. The grain looks natural, the colours are rich, the Dolby Vision support makes various colours pop, including Spawn's CGI cape, and there's a lot of finer details that were absolutely lost in previous home video releases. That being said, the CGI, we're finally here. Wow. From the very first moments, like the opening flames, there's a dove going through the flames. It just looks so ropey. It kind of makes the film, unfortunately, a little bit unbearable. The effects are dated, and they're dated in a way that they probably looked dated when this film came out nearly 30 years ago as well. There is no hiding it, and this remaster doesn't do anything to attempt to fix it. Kind of like the Tron release did in their CGI. But I understand why Arrow didn't, on a budget side of things, and they might not have even been able to with the sources that they had available to them. I think one really jarring thing is the transition between like CGI and then the practical sets and then the animatronics. It just creates this whole mess that's in front of you, and also makes it just so much more obvious that there's no real way to blend it. I guess you could say it does have a certain charm. I don't necessarily know if that's good charm or bad charm, but it's certainly like oh, look how far we've come. And unfortunately, we like peaked in the end of the 2010s, and now we're back to getting like some really kind of shoddy CGI. We're on a really weird ride in Hollywood and cinema at the moment, safe to say. That all being said, it is a really interesting mix. You've got moments where the practical effects look gritty and tactile, and then suddenly out of nowhere there's a cut to some 90s hellscape CGI, and it's like, oh my Jesus Christ, what are we watching? But they did really try, and that's, you've got to applaud the effort more than anything on this. When it's bad, it's really bad. But I guess that's kind of some of the appeal of this film. Audio-wise, Arrow has done an absolutely fantastic job here. We don't get a Dolby Atmos track, but we do get a DTS HD 5.1 master audio track, along with a lossless stereo mix. Though there is no Atmos, the mix on this is truly immersive. Every gunfight has bullets ricocheting around you. The storms and the rain makes you feel so fully immersed in the world that honestly it's one of the better audio tracks that I've heard this year, even with what some would say its limited capabilities with not having Atmos. I guess it just shows you don't really need all the bells and whistles to have a great experience. All in all, the dialogue is really clean. As I said, the surrounds are working overtime, they're doing great. There's some punchy sub moments. You get that really good bass response during the heavier action scenes. And it's safe to say that this mix does breathe that extra bit of life into this film. On the actual film, Spawn, let's be honest here, Spawn is not a good movie. And I'm going to be cursed out in the comments down below for that, especially by one certain person, because they absolutely adore Spawn. But is this the Spawn you adore? Is it? It is absolutely bonkers from start to finish. Like so many times throughout the movie, I was just like, what am I even watching? The editing choices are something else. There is scene-to-scene transitions that make the Star Wars screen wipes look like an absolute masterpiece. It is pure, unfiltered 90s chaos with no one there saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this. That does make it kind of fun, but in no means good. It is just a pure nostalgia trip. And I've got to bring it up because it was the favourite part of the film. John Leguizamo's Violator is giving like Penguin from Batman Returns energy 1 minute, then becomes a like twisted cheerleader the next. Like, one, as I said, what was I watching? It is like maybe C movie territory through and through, but I can also see that that's why it's some people's guilty pleasure. And for people who absolutely adore the comic book character of Spawn, this being your only feature film release, I get why it will hold a special place in your heart. It does feel so over the top that it kind of loops back to being fun again. And before I get on to my final thoughts, we just have to take a minute to talk about special features. This is a 2-disc release, and disc 1 is absolutely packed to the brim. Arrow have got multiple new 2025 featurettes that are made exclusively for this release, including a brand new 15-minute interview with Michael J. White. You get audio commentaries, you're getting storyboards, you're getting theatrical release trailers, full-on featurettes, and as I said, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 brand new featurettes with various members of the cast and crew of Spawn that have been made exclusively for this release. So for anyone who's a fan of the film, or for someone who's just fascinated in like 90s comic book films, this is a huge win. So final thoughts. Arrow's 4K release of Spawn is fascinating. I guess it's one of those questions of just because you can, does it mean you should? Overall, the transfer looks fantastic. The audio really immerses you into the actual world of Spawn. And while the CGI has not aged gracefully, not really sure if it was born gracefully, to be honest with you, it's still a really fun, wild watch. It is messy, loud, kind of ridiculous, and I guess that is kind of part of the charm of Spawn. It is a great showcase of what Arrow does, bringing cult films and giving them some just next level treatment. Like, Arrow does need to be applauded on this because it is such an absolutely fantastic transfer. Even though the film is an absolute dumpster fire, I love that Arrow are putting in the love and care for that and giving this some physical media love. Would I recommend it? Are you a fan of Spawn? If you are, it's absolutely worth it. If you've never seen it like me, but I have got a very good friend who absolutely adores Spawn, I couldn't not pick it up and give it a review. It's fun. It is going to have a place on the shelf. I'd absolutely say it's worth a punt just for the transfer and audio alone, but just be aware the film is hot trash. Film is absolute hot trash. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Cue the Credits. Just as a little side note, last night we actually hit 300 subscribers on Cue the Credits. I would like to thank every single one of you who is subscribed. I really appreciate your support, and it doesn't feel like 2 minutes ago that I was giving you the same speech about 200 subscribers. It has been so much fun engaging with everyone in the comments, making these videos for you. It's been such an incredible ride. With that being said, make sure you hit the subscribe button, give it a like, drop me the comments down below. Are you a Spawn lover? Are you a Spawn hater? Share this with your friends, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. So, final thoughts. Arrow. It's okay. It's okay.